are listening to Single Smart Female.
This is us letting it all hang out about your love life, examining Steph's dating experiences, and answering your hot topic dating questions. Just you, Steph, and me. No topic is off limits and no filters involved. This is Jen.
And I'm Steph. If you have a question about your love life that you would like us to answer, you can submit your question at singlesmartfemale.com.
Hello, Single Smart Female. Welcome to Show 42. I'm your host, Jen Burton, and I am joined by and you can fill in the blank today with a really kind, lovely adjective co-host, Steph. Say hi, Steph.
Hello.
And as usual, because we are very considerate of your time, we are going to jump straight to our Single Smart Female listener question. Hit us hard, Steph.
Okay, this question comes from New in New York. She's 29 and she writes, "What do I do about splitting the bill on dates? I'm not in the best financial situation, but I make a fair amount. I know that it's hard for people to make ends meet in New York City, and I want to be respectful of other situations as well, especially since I'm not a gold digger. However, I'm always quick to jump to offer to split the bill, which almost all guys have taken me up on. But then I find that they're disinterested. I don't know if these things are related, but I'm also disappointed by them not offering to pay because I think it shows a lack of investment on their part. What do I do?"
Could you go ahead and read some of the other background information?
Sure. She says that she just moved back to the States after living abroad for 2.5 years. Wasn't really making money during that time, but have a lot of interesting experiences that, she says, also isolated me from typical guys. I find it hard to relate to people who have no international experience and people who are heavy consumers. I like keeping things simple, but also want to be an adored woman. I find it hard to figure out a balance to these things.
Thank you, Steph, for reading that question. You did such a great job. I'm very proud of you.
Oi. Hey, you're welcome.
Okay. Actually, there are so many different pieces to this submission that we can address. And I think I'm going to just start with the obvious, her really big question. Is there a connection between offering to pay and disinterest from a man? And I'm going to say yes. And it's not necessarily because if you offer, he's automatically disinterested, but you've kind of taken away the opportunity for him to do something that men are historically wired to do, which is provide. I know it sounds very antiquated. I get that. But as an adored woman, there is nothing wrong with you sitting on your hands momentarily and seeing if he offers to pay instead of being the one who steps up to prove that she doesn't need a man to pay for her because she feels uncomfortable letting him do so.
Yes. And, I know that you mentioned in here that you're not a gold digger. Letting a man pay for a date that he asked you on is not gold digging. And you don't need to prove to anyone that you're not a gold digger. Even if you were the one that asked him on the date, you're not required to pay either. It doesn't make you a gold digger because he decides that he is really interested in you, or he's just a gentleman in general, and he wants to pay. I have asked my husband this several times. When I did my Mantourage dating experience in 2006, I'm going to be honest with you all. I didn't pay for a single date, not one. And it wasn't about me going around saying, "Hey, look at me. I can go out on a date and not have to pay for anything and I get a free meal all the time." No, because I started to understand that men start to generate interest in you by the things that they're able to do for you. Now, with that said, if he asks you to help pay, then you're more than welcome to go ahead and do that. I will say most, I'm going to use the phrase mentally stable guys, though, have no problem paying for you. It's a kind of a good indicator to you if he has genuine interest in getting to know you
romantically on a first date. And I don't encourage women to continue to date men who are unwilling to pay for the first date. Those guys tend to have issues where they think a woman should prove to them that she's not using him. And then you spend an entire relationship trying to prove to him how romantically valuable you are, what a good woman you are. And it ends up being a really difficult situation where you're not ever given permission to relax, to be yourself, and to feel like an adored woman, and let him treat you to things and for him to spoil you in certain ways. It doesn't mean that you'll never reciprocate. I'm just telling you in the beginning, it's a better idea and a better setup to sit on your hands, even if it makes you uncomfortable, because it's going to make you uncomfortable at the beginning. Obviously, it already makes you uncomfortable. Otherwise, you wouldn't be jumping up and saying, hey, I'll pay for my part. Hey, not that you were saying it like that. But it is going to give you a much different setup to things going further if you allow him to pay for that first date. Now, with that said, Miss New in New York, I actually want to address a couple of other things that you brought up in this conversation, your background information. And you were talking about one having traveled the world, which I hear this a lot from women. They talk about travel the world and how they can't connect to typical guys. Okay, I'm going to call you out a bit on this one because it's something I hear so frequently, and I used to travel the world too, and I used to use the same, it's a BS thought process, and all it's doing is it only serves to push men away from you. Men, just because they aren't as well traveled as you, doesn't mean they can't connect to you in different ways and eventually go on those same adventures with you. I remember for certain, one of the things that I did for years is I thought, and I never admitted this until I started doing this work, but I thought only men, foreign men, would be attracted to me because I've always been on the thicker side. And I thought American men would never really find me attractive. So I would use that whole BS excuse of being well-traveled and men not relating to me here in the United States and blah, 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 so that I could keep them at arm's length because I was insecure and I didn't really think that men here in the United States would be attracted to me in my physical shape and my size. And it's all crap. My husband now is from Tennessee. He's wildly attracted to me. My weight has fluctuated our entire relationship, and it has nothing to do with it. And we are able to connect. Now, he did do some traveling while he was in the military, but he didn't do it on the same level I did. He wasn't there to explore the culture. He wasn't there. He was just there to do a job, and that was it. And we still are able to connect on many levels. So it's time for you to step away from that idea, because it's only going to serve as a deterrent to finding the love that I believe you want. Also, you're talking about the consumerism, which I think is an excellent point to bring up. Yes, here in the United States, there's a lot of consumerism going on, a lot of English-speaking countries in general. And yes, I think here in the United States, we totally, above everybody else, blow people away with consumerism. And over the past several years, I haven't done this full on yet, but I've been stepping into the world of minimalism. And there's no, how do I say this, Steph? There is no separation between being a minimalist and being an adored woman. Being an adored woman does not mean you have to be involved in
a consumer.
Yeah, you don't have to be an extreme consumer, because being an adored woman, in my view, is more about experiences than it is things. Okay, so you can consume by going out on a date and having, say a drink or a water or something like that. But it doesn't have to be about owning lots of things or having the most expensive of anything. It's about the quality of the experience.
Right.
And the thing that we've talked about in previous episodes is it's a good idea, especially if you're of this frame of mind and you like your experiences to be of high quality, to make a list. And you can make them in different tiers and different price tiers. So that when a man asks you, hey, what would you like to do? You can say, I would love to go to, and I know I'm being very generic about Manhattan. I want to go to Central Park and have an ice cream. Things like that. You can keep it as simple as you want, but what you want it to be is not about trying to prove to him how great of a woman you are, how
worldly you are, how interesting you are,
or, how little you need and all that. Because
how you're not a gold digger.
And how you're not a gold digger as well. Beautifully said, Steph. Thank you. You have to, in dating, step away from the trying to prove to men. That's where a lot of us women are getting stuck, is we're trying to prove to men how valuable we are, and it's not working. It's not working at all.
You'll see this everywhere, and it's very true. Men stick with the women that make them feel good, and that's
not about you trying to make him feel good. That's about him just enjoying being
your
with
presence.
You.
Yeah, it's about your presence, and all those things that do make you interesting and worldly and not a gold digger, and all those things. Those are part of who you are, and that in itself can make him feel good in your presence. Like, it's not. I just want to make sure that I'm not saying, don't be interesting, don't have a great life. Definitely do that. You just don't need to prove that you are.
Exactly. And you want to think of it this way. Those things are assets. They're not weapons. And right now, the spin that you have, or the perception you have of them versus you, is you're using that as a weapon against men versus, hey, this is an experience I had. I get to share it with you, get you excited on it, and maybe one day we get to go on a new adventure together that's even better than all the ones I've already had.
Right. Today's show is sponsored by thecouragekit.com. Are you tired of meeting craptastic men, going on craptastic dates, and feeling craptastically inept at dating and love? Let us rework your dating experiences, single lady. Fun, pleasure, and magic included. No experience required. We'll see you at thecouragekit.com. We have a brand new segment for y'all that Jen has so lovingly coined, Stupid Shit That Women Do.
And say.
This new segment may show up one or two times, but we do fear that we may lose some of our listeners.
I can guarantee we're going to lose several of our listeners after doing this segment.
But it's got to be said.
Yes.
Got to be said.
Ladies, none of us are perfect. Steph and I do not sit in front of this microphone assuming that we are perfection.
Well,
sometimes, but but there is stuff that we are doing as women and we blame men all the time for, and it's got to stop. If you want great relationships with men, great relationships with your girlfriends, and if you want to move up in life, this is some of the stuff that has to stop today. So recently I had a woman reach out to me. She sent me a message in response to a message that had been sent out via my website. And she basically insulted my programs, which, fair enough. She's entitled to her opinion. But this was based on never having participated in any program. She started telling me exactly how men are and that no amount of money thrown at my programs would change that. Now, I know, because I've been doing this a long time now, ladies, I know exactly what she was doing. She was trying to passive-aggressively get me to reach out to her and say, oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this right now. What can I do to make this better? And recruit her as a customer or a client. I also know, because I've been doing this for a very long time, when women do that, and women do this frequently, lots of women, you do it with other women, you do it with men, you do it on so many levels. And we'll talk about different instances of that in just a moment. But when women do this, they are not my client. I don't want them to be my client because they are incredibly difficult to work with. They have stepped into victim role and they have decided that it's somebody else's job to fix their love lives. I'm here to help you with your love lives. I'm not here to fix your love life. You have to be willing to step up and use the information and take control and power in your love life, which I 100% believe you can do. But if I do it for you, it's not true power. It's not true success. It's not truly changing your love life. So coming at me in this passive-aggressive manner will never yield you what you want from me, ever. I will never, ever try to recruit you as my client and take you under my wing to try to prove to you how great men are. I know how great men are. Why? Because I have no need to step into victim role. I own my own shit. Yes, I talk about how great I am a lot. And I talk about how great Steph is a lot sometimes. But I do. I believe in myself. I also believe in my quirks, my downfalls. I am a human being with all kinds of faults, all kinds of missteps, things that I do in my life. But one thing I am not going to do and will forever is I am not going to make it okay for you to insult me. I'm not going to take shots from you and then reach out to you to try to make you my client. You couldn't pay me enough money to do that. You just can't. I don't have any need for you. The cost is so much greater than the actual financial piece that I might get from you. And you shouldn't do that with other women in your life or other people when you're in your life. You shouldn't make it better for them when they take shots at you. And a lot of us are doing that as well. So I want to come back to some of the more passive-aggressive examples of shit that women do and say. And that's one of them. They'll talk about how horrible men are and then take a shot at you in one way and then just keep going on and try to tell me that I don't know anything about men, even though I've had lots of success with men. The women around me have had lots of success with men. I have heard things from men that I know no women have ever heard because I create a space for men in my life for them to be real, for them to be their best selves. Most women don't know how to do that. That's why you're listening to this in the first place. Something in you knows that does exist, regardless if you're jaded or not. But it's not my job. It will never be my job to take insults from you or from anybody and then try to make it better for you. No, I have better things to do with my life. Now, other places I see women do this. We're so afraid to ask for stuff. So afraid. and what's going to happen? I had the lady in my office building. She needed something from me because what I submitted to her from somebody else had an incorrect address on it. So instead of just saying, hey, unfortunately, I can't accept this the way it is, I had to ask her, hey, are you saying this is cool the way this is? Instead of just saying, oh, Jen, by the way, this isn't going to work for our files. Can you please resubmit this? Such a simple fucking question. But she couldn't do it. She couldn't fucking do it. And my mind is blown why women, even with other women, can't do this. I can kind of understand the hesitancy with men as we're growing, building our courage muscle with men. I can totally get that. But with other women, why do you do that? Or when women have to fucking lie about spending time with their friends because they don't really want to.
Oh, yeah. That's
okay. Yeah.
You don't need to make an excuse. I mean, I've been there. I've been on both sides of that for sure. I have a very great group of girlfriends at this point where we're almost brutal. Like, I'm just tired. I don't want to go out tonight. Or, not interested in doing that, but maybe we could do something else.
Nobody's head explodes, right? You can tell each other the truth.
It's refreshing. It's nice. It's nice to be able to be straight up instead of make up some bullshit excuse.
Yeah. And I think about, and going back to the original woman who if she would have reached out to me and said, Jen, I'm so confused right now. I'm so confused. This man just left me. I'm hurting. I'm having a hard time believing in men.
And I'm angry.
I'm angry. Okay. We would have had a different conversation. And I might have sent her a message that says, I'm really sorry that that's happening to you right now. Now, granted, I do, ladies, I'm going to tell you right now, I get hundreds of emails throughout the week. I can't answer all of them individually. It's too much. I have to have a life on my aside from my business. But if she would have sent that, we would have had a completely different conversation. And I bet you anything, she would have already felt different with men by now. Okay, because obviously, even though she thinks she knows everything, obviously she doesn't. Obviously she doesn't if she's having man after man not want to be with her. Okay? And that doesn't have to be your romantic destiny, but you have to be willing to A, be honest, and B, to step away from being jaded and say that, okay, maybe it's not just men here. Maybe I have a piece and there's something that I'm doing that's attracting this kind of behavior. Okay, Lover Girl, it's time for the final thought on today's show.
Letting a man pay for a date never makes you a gold digger. Going out with him just so he will pay for a date does.
This is Jen.
And this is Steph.
Don't forget to subscribe to our show in iTunes. And if you'd like to submit a question to us, come see us at singlesmartfemale.com. And if you just want to come play around and learn more about mantourage dating, come see us at havehimyourway.com.
Talk to you next time.